Welcome to my podcast. Today I'm dealing with angry children, and I'm sure you've dealt with angry children. When your kids are angry, it can make their life very difficult in the house, and it can affect everyone in the household. The thing you need to do is address the anger. Not try and push it down, not try and talk it down, quell it down, tell them they shouldn't be angry. You need to let them vent their anger and find a good, healthy way to do this. Children are usually angry for various reasons. Mostly they don't think it's fair, and that will be like a social justice thing for them. It wasn't fair, why do I have to? And when you want to deal with your kids' anger, rather than head it off and lock with them, headlock with them, it's better to get them to express it and to listen to them and let them vent a bit. Of course, it has to be done in a safe way, but it's better to do that. Children often don't feel that we listen to them. You'll often hear kids say, "You don't listen to me, you're not listening." And that's really true, because a lot of parents do not listen to their kids. They tell their kids stuff all the time, but they don't actually listen to them. So if you've got an angry child, sit them down and say, "Okay, tell me all the things you're angry about, and I'm going to sit here and I'm going to listen to it, and then we're going to see if we can sort this out and find a better way of doing this." You will get a much better response for kids. That's why people send their kids to all these psychologists and that, because the psychologist actually listens to the kid, but it should actually be you listening to your kid. Some of their anger is rightful. Some of the things we've done aren't fair. We might have played favourites. They might have got framed and it wasn't them who hit the dog or something. Some of those things are actually valid. Some of the things aren't valid. The children still need to have a voice. They need to be able to tell you why they're angry and what was wrong and how they felt. And this way you're getting them to learn how to express themselves and not push it down. Because people who aren't allowed to express their anger in a home end up really not expressing feelings, and then that affects every relationship they ever have, and they'll often become very passive aggressive kind of personalities. So when the child is angry, we do that, we sit and we listen, and then we try and negotiate our way through it. You don't let them scream and yell at you constantly, but you might find at the very beginning the emotions very big, so they will be raising their voice a bit, and see how much you can sort of handle. Most children parents are having trouble with are angry children. They really are. They're just angry, and they're angry with life, and they're angry with school, and they're angry with their siblings, and they're angry with you. And that's what you need to face, that they have a lot of anger towards things. And the more we can get them to express their anger in a safe place and where they're actually heard, because I think these kids don't feel like we're hearing them. We're just fobbing them off and not really listening and not hearing them, because there's no change for them. That's why they're still angry, because they don't think what you're doing is fair. However, if you sit down and you talk to them in the way that they express themselves, and then you say, well, what do you think would be a better outcome? What do you think would have been a better way to do that? Or how can we fix that for you? And actually make it a fair bit about them, you'll find you might have better luck with them. You know what it's like when we get angry, that's the top of all the stuff that's underneath it, and everything kind of comes out. Not because it's that actual event that made it happen. Sometimes it is. Most often it's not that event. This is just it got too much and it kind of flooded out of you and you needed to say it. And we as adults do this all the time. We go and sit with our friends and we have a big thing about something and vent and carry on and call the person all the names under the sun, and our friend sits there and just listens. Or we come home from work and we're like, blah, 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 and we're complaining, being really negative about the boss or something, or what happened at work, and using lots of swear words. We do it all the time, and it's okay for us to do that. So we need to be mindful that these are just like little mini us, and then they need to have a voice. Most angry children don't feel that they're listened to. That's what I really get really strongly whenever I talk to kids and look at the dynamic, and that's why they're angry, and they don't feel you understand or you have compassion around it or you believe them. It's all that kind of stuff. And even in our adult relationships, you'll find that we're angry with people because they won't listen to us. They They're not hearing what we're saying. We're not making any headway with them. And that's the same with your kids. Now, the reason it's important to do this with the angry kids is because angry kids are going to land up becoming problematic for you as well. You will live with someone who's like a big black angry red cloud walking around the house. And some children are more angry in their nature and more passionate. You have to understand that. You can have 3 kids and one can be the angry aunt more than the other 2, or vice versa. So it's just their nature as well. And if you take that into consideration, their nature, and then the fact that they need to express and vent and find a better solution to what's made them angry, and you work towards that, you'll have much more luck. Lots of parents try to shut their kids down. Don't you speak to me like that. Go to your room like that. That's probably an option people use, but it actually doesn't allow that child to express themselves. And they should be able to express themselves. You just have to help to guide them to express it in a way that's non-violent, or that the aggression kind of tapers down after a while. And that's the other thing to consider, that some personalities are more aggressive than others, and that's part of their nature. And so you have to give them a little bit of a bigger gate to walk through. They're going to be an angry ant, and they're going to vent, and it's going to be high, and it's going to probably be loud, and you just let that happen, because eventually it'll taper down once they've got to say it. And you have to be present. Like, do not be doing the dishes, do not be looking at your text messages on your phone, do not be cooking tea. You need to be present when you're going through them explaining to you why they're angry. And you need to let them know that you're present and you're hearing what they say. Because angry people, most often, it's because they don't feel they were heard or valued or appreciated, or their opinion was taken into account, or that they feel that their worth was taken into account. It's important to teach our children also to handle their anger in non-violent ways and not become verbally abusive as well. And there might be little traces of that at the beginning of the vent. Just, if it's not too bad, just let it come out. They're angry, they're upset, they just need to say it, and then you talk about it. But the more you listen to your kids, the more you talk to them about what they see and how they saw it, and also take responsibility. If they're saying things to you like you were mean and you were unfair and you wouldn't let me, and it's true, you take responsibility. You go like, yep, yeah, I did that. Yeah, I can see what I did. Yeah, I understand what you're saying. I could have done that better. I don't think I really did that well, and I'm really sorry that I did that. And you apologize. That's going to make like a healing. You don't have to stand on your big high horse and be the big parent. You can just be the person who apologizes and said, yeah, I didn't do that very well, or, next time I'm going to try better at that. Because we're not perfect parents. And I think it's really important for our kids to see we're not perfect parents. We don't have the book. My God, I always wish that the kid arrived, by the time he left the hospital, they had that book. He had the book about all the things that could go wrong, like with the car, and how to fix it. There's no thing that we can do except with our individual child. And you know your children better than anyone else. So you actually know how to handle them, actually. Mostly kids don't feel we listen to them, and I think it's probably true. And in this techno age, I think it's become even more obvious that parents are not listening to their kids because they're so distracted with work and all the techno things, the phones and the computers and everything that we're on, the iPads. You need to keep focus with your kid and make this the most important thing we're doing right now, is talking about it, is finding a solution, is taking responsibility for my part and then your part too. And that's the thing, when you're the big person and you take responsibility for some part of it as a parent, you'll find your kid will find it easier to say, yeah, I didn't do that very well either, I could have done that better. It's because we're all taking responsibility for our behaviour. We're not having a hierarchy. We're not having, I'm up here and you're down there. We're on equal ground here in our behaviour. Angry children are hard to deal with. But the most important thing to do is to listen to them and give them a voice and hear their voice, because I found that children who are angry are full of stuff that they want to vent. And that's the other thing you might want to do while you're having your venting session. Go through everything they've been upset about. If it takes an hour or two, who cares? Because your relationship will be better for it, and they will be better because they're not holding on to it, the grudge or the upset, or how it wasn't fair at cricket, or you always make me eat that when I don't like it, but so and so doesn't have to eat it when they don't like it. It's all these what we think trivial things are, but they all build up to this volcano that you're living with. And what you want to do is let the volcano slowly come out, all the bits and pieces, and eventually there will be less to be a volcano about. This is what I think about anger. Let them vent in a safe environment, and that way your relationship will be better, because we're such emotional beings, and they're probably little mini yous. So if you're like this, or the father or the mother of this child is like this, they're going to have this as well. It's genetic. It's not just environmental, it's genetic. So you need to take that into consideration and think whether you were a little hothead when you were a kid too. There's better ways of dealing with it, that's all I think. And we can dissipate a lot of the anger by letting it come out and listening. So I'm sending you lots of love and healing, and lots of love to your kids. Have fun with them in between it all, and make a few jokes, because it helps to lighten it up a bit sometimes, and be a bit silly with them. And don't forget to hug them, and don't forget to kiss them, and don't forget to tell them how much you love them while you have to listen to the venting of the anger. Okay, that's all for now.